Hey everybody, I'm Jason and welcome back to my channel. A friend of a friend recently dropped off these two quads and asked me if I could get them going for his kids. So they are mid to late 90s Suzuki LT80s. One of them looks to be in pretty good shape and the other one looks to be a semi-basket case. It's kind of taken apart. So I'm going to do these one at a time, and I'm going to start with the easy one so I can get his kids playing as soon as possible. The story I got is that they've been sitting for about 2 years, but they did run up until they were put away, except for one, I guess, that was torn apart, but we'll figure that out later. So I'm expecting all the usual, old gas, dirty carburetors, the typical kind of stuff. So let's just get into it and find out. All right, just put in what looks like a brand new battery, topped it up overnight on the charger, so let's give it a shot. And nothing. Some clicking from down below. Well, that would have been too good to be true, right? I just measured this thing up, and of course it's about an inch wider than the door it has to pass through to get into my shop in the sunroom. So I'm gonna have to strip it down and get it in any way I can by the looks of things. Hopefully it's not too heavy. Here we go. So after a little bit of a struggle, I got it through the door, had to take the tires off, but I've got it up on the operating table now and everything's kind of wide open for me to check out. This bike's in really nice shape actually for its age. It's been really well kept. The rubber's not wore out, paint's not all scratched up. It's a pretty nice bike for a 1996. It's close to 30 years old. So anyway, let's do a little analysis of the starting system from what we've learned, and I'll show you how I'm going to figure out what the problem is here. This bike uses a starting relay to get power to the starter. So what that means is when you push the little button on the handlebar, instead of all the full voltage going through that button, it sends a low amp connection through here, triggers the relay, which connects these two heavier wires which carry the current down to the starter, which turns it. Okay, so in my opinion, there's probably only 3 things that can be going wrong here. Number one, it's possible that this relay is no good. Okay, I mean, mechanical, it wears out. We can test that. We know that it's getting power because it clicks when you push the button. Okay, so very possibly the relay. The next thing is it's possible that the starter is no good. Okay, so the voltage is getting to the starter and it's not turning. That's entirely possible, and that's also what I really hope this isn't, because on this bike you really have to dig in order to get to that starter. So let's hope it's not that. But the third thing that could be possible is there's something wrong with the wiring. Now, as I say, this bike is quite clean, and generally clean bikes don't have wiring problems, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. If you take a look very carefully at this relay, you can see that somebody's been in there. All right, there's marks on that little tab. The bike is 30 years old, and the starter is exposed. It's very possible one of these wires is corroded. I'm going to guess it's either the relay or the starter. I'm going to say the wiring's probably okay. So you should be able to just push that tab down, and yeah, it comes out, and oh my god. That could be the problem right there. Definitely some corrosion here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the battery back in the bike, and then I'm going to jumper between these 2 red wires, which is there and there, just to see if the starter spins. If the starter spins, then we know that the problem is either because of this corrosion, very possible, or that the relay is fried, which is also possible. It's also possible the corrosion has gotten into the relay. So we're going to do that. I'll hook up the battery and we'll see what happens. Okay, let's do a little test here. So I'll put the negative probe onto the battery negative, and I'll check these for voltage. So that top pin, I'm not sure which is which here, so let's just do a little exploring. So the bottom pin here has 12.5 volts. So that's direct from battery, 12.5 volts. It's not switched. The switching comes from this side, which is the trigger for the relay, and this is the hot side. So what happens is when this is closed, then a connection is made between that and that, which goes directly to the starter. Okay, so that should be hot, and like I say, it's unswitched. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to jumper between these two, send voltage to the starter, and see what happens. I guess the other thing I should mention is these bikes have this little breaker switch that I guess replaces a fuse that goes between the hot wire to the starter and to this little plug here. Okay, so I'm just going to push that to reset it. Actually, it feels like it is reset. Like it doesn't feel like it's been triggered. Do that first. And then I'm just going to take my little jumper wire, which is copper household wire, lots of amperage there. I'll stick it in there. There's voltage going through, but nothing's happening. So it'll click somewhere. Not sure what that's all about, but the starter should be running right now, but it's not. So let's give that another push. Okay, let's try that again. Yeah, it's sparking and there's current, like there's nothing happening. It's not going through to the starter. My guess is the starter is either stuck or burnt out. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this plug, I'm going to put it in some vinegar and a little bit of salt, and I'm going to clean these contacts up. And I'm going to start doing what I have to do to dig through to this starter, take it out, and I'll bench test it. But right now, everything is pointing at the starter not working. So it should go without saying, but as soon as you do any work electrically, you should disconnect the battery. In this case, I'm going to take it right out, just for safety's sake, especially if you're starting to dip live plugs into a fluid. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to put this little piece of plastic down. I've got this. So this is washing vinegar, 10% vinegar. There's a little bit of table salt dissolved in the bottom. Bend it around so that it goes in like that. And just leave it in there until it dissolves all of that corrosion, which shouldn't take too long, but you know, it's not going to be instant either. So the starter is buried in the front of this bike, way down there, okay? So it comes off with 2 bolts there and there, and wiggles out. I guess it's quite a tight procedure from what I've been reading. So they recommend taking off this front mount, loosening the foot pegs, and taking out the carburetor from what I've read. To give you more access, and then the best place to get it is from below. So I'm going to do my best to get this carburetor off. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Maybe not. And just start digging in. I guess that wasn't too bad. So this carburetor literally, I mean, it almost touches the starter sitting there. Actually, you can see on the top of the case here where it's so close it's actually left a mark. It's probably not from bouncing, just from stuff accumulating. Anyway, that's the starter right there. Apparently this bike hasn't run in about 2 years, so I'm going to go through the carb just a little bit later too. All right, so here's my plan. I'm going to take this jack and put it underneath the engine. There's a nice spot for it right here. And I'm just going to take a little bit of the weight off of the bike. Okay, so I'm just taking a little bit of the weight off. I'm gonna take out this engine mount right here, okay? Take it out and hopefully I can tip the engine up so that I can get it past. There's a frame piece at the bottom here and this foot peg bar. I'm hoping I can lift it up maybe about 2-3 inches and get in to get that starter out easily. It's a tight fit, I'll tell you that right now, and everything I've seen online backs that up, that it's a bit of a pain in the butt. But if you can get it up and get a little bit of room, it should be fine. Hopefully this will work. Okay, I'm just gonna take this breather hose off, not because I have to, but because it's gonna be a little bit easier to make a better video, and you can see it better. Okay, so the starter is held in by these 2 bolts here that hold this case on. I'd like to try to do this without having to remove this case. I think it can be done. So these are just, it's an 8mm socket that pulled out easy enough. That one's a little tougher. That little 12-volt impact is quite handy, but sometimes it just isn't quite enough. There we go. I do like the 12-volt because I know I'm not going to I'm a lot less likely to strip something, you know. Okay, so now that thing should be loose, although it's been in there a while, so it probably needs a little love tap. No problem. There we go. Ha ha! That wasn't that bad. All right, now we can take this wire off easier. For those that don't know, there's a type of screwdriver, a JIS screwdriver, Japanese something. It's made for these bikes. It's slightly different than a Robertson or a Phillips. And man, it always fits these screws nice and tight, pulls them out without screwing them up. If you don't have a set and you're working on these bikes, get one because it's well worth it. Okay, well, here's the starter. Let's do a quick bench test on it. You know, it doesn't look that bad, doesn't look that old, but the whole bike looks kind of new under there. So the first thing we're going to do is to test the starter with the battery that came with the bike, just to see if that's working. It looks like a brand new battery, so I'm sure it is, but let's take a look here. It's sparking, lots of sparks, but nothing happening. Oh, no, not really anything happening. Okay, so I switched over to a marine battery that I use with my winch. I know it's fully charged because I keep it fully charged, and we'll see if it makes any difference. And it doesn't. So I don't know if you can see, but there's definitely there's definitely power getting through, but this just isn't doing anything. So this starter appears to be dead. So I'm just going to order another one. Aftermarket ones on Amazon or from anybody are like 30-40 bucks. I'll probably get a relay at the same time just to make sure. And yeah. All right. Just before I leave this thing sit for a couple of days, we'll take it out of the vinegar. Whoops, we'll take it out of the vinegar and salt. Yeah, looks like it's cleaned up in there. So that just takes off all the corrosion, okay? And then when you do that, you have to follow up with the soak in some baking soda. just to neutralize the acid. So I'll just leave that in there. So the whole time it's soaked in the acid for maybe an hour and a half, and then all you need to do is just leave it in there for maybe a minute or two just to neutralize everything. Okay, that should be enough. Get that out of the way. And then what I'm going to do, I just take some contact cleaner and just blow it all out. Just get everything out of there. The stuff evaporates off pretty quick. And you can already see that they're shiny in there. All right, so the bike's gonna sit for a couple of days until parts come in, but you won't know that. It'll only seem like a second. So, see ya. All right, so a couple days later, brand new starter and a brand new relay. Let's just give this a quick bench test, see how it sounds compared to the other one, which was pretty gravelly, as you might remember. Oh, that's a lot smoother. For sure. Remember, the other one sounded like it was really fighting to turn. This one's spinning nice and freely, so that's good. So let's put her back in and see how it goes. There we go, finally. There. Jesus. What a pain in the butt that is, I'll tell you. Cleaned up these bolts on the wire wheel, sprayed them down with some penetrating oil just so they don't rust up again. Perfect. Good. There we go. Awesome. All right, so I got the battery hooked up, got the safety switch up on the foot. I've got the engine on run. I reconnected the ignition switch. There we go. So I should be able to just push the button and the starter should go. There's no carburetor, or the carburetor is not on, so it won't start, but let's give it a shot. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Yeah. That sounds good. Cool. Okay, starter problem dealt with. So, not sure if I showed you this before, but there's also a 5 amp fuse in line just to, make sure things don't overload and burn out the wiring. One of these is active, right? and the other one's a spare. Both of them are okay. I've checked them. Just I took apart, and let's just take apart this connector, and they're a little bit crusty, the contacts, so I'm going to give them the same treatment. I've got a little bit of time. You know, you don't know this yet, but I went ahead and took the front brakes apart and had to order a few parts. So the bike's going to be sitting here for a few days. So I might as well knock off all the easy stuff. And I think I'm just going to take a minute, soak these terminals and make sure they're nice and clean. And I might just check the whole bike out, although there's not much to it electrically, and make sure all of the contacts are clean. All right, well, since I've got it out and we know that the gas has been in there for a while, I think we might as well just go to the trouble of opening up this carburetor and seeing what it looks like on the inside. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully, if it is, I can just blow it out with some cleaner and I don't have to soak it. Once again, JIS screwdriver made just for Japanese bikes and I don't know, cars too maybe. Awesome things, they fit just beautifully. Don't mess up the screw heads. Beautiful things. Whew, that gas doesn't smell like gas, I'll tell you. It smells more like, I don't know what it smells like, but it's not pretty. Ooh, kind of yellow. Yeah, it's not bad. A little bit of scum, but that's all right. I can live with that. Still, we'll give it a good clean out. Blow out the passages. Ooh, that smell. Oof. Looks all right. Gasket looks good. Let's just pop this jet out and see what it looks like. Ooh, that's a small one. Very fine. Yeah, you can see through it. Makuni. I think I am going to throw this in the ultrasonic cleaner just to get it perfect, you know. Take out the choke. See what's going on. Oh, it looks nice and clean too. Slides off, does it? Like so. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. Blow through here. Yep, lots coming through. See it? That small jet. Not sure where that's going to. Oh, it's going through too, right there. It didn't on my first couple blows, so this thing was definitely gummed up. Let's blow through here. Yep. Doesn't seem to work right. Let's put it right on here. Yep, that's good. I'm never really sure what these holes are for, but I always blow them out. I think that one's, these two are both, oh, see that one there? Oh, look how black that is coming out of there. So this, oh, it's full of garbage. Ugh, okay. Yep, that's better. Yeah, that was full of really black garbage. So everything seems to be open. That's just the choke. Let's give it a hit just because. It's because I've done everything else. Yep. No problem. Yeah, so we're good here. Everything's open. I'm not going to bother with that. Everything's open. I'm going to throw it back in the cleaner just to clean all that gunge out. Take a look at the rest of the stuff, and then we're going to put it back together. See how nice and clean that ultrasonic cleaner makes things? Just a beautiful little tool. Okay, so see that screw there? That's a screw that looks like it's never seen a JIS screwdriver. Yeah, but the JIS still fits beautifully, so. Okay, so that's the drain. Looks fine. Just give that a quick blast, I guess, this way. Yep. Yep. Yep, all good. See, we got a little bit of rubber from an old drain tube on there. Just peel that off. Good. Okay. So that's all clean and nice. Put this back in. Okay. And we'll throw that back in the cleaner for another 10 or 15 minutes, along with this jet that we just pulled out. Yep. Yep, it's clean. Still, I'm going to throw it in the cleaner. You never know. Stuff's hot, hot, hot. There we go. All right, so here we are, fresh out of the ultrasonic cleaner. I just blew that one out. Just got to let it sit and dry. This one here I've blown out. But just for the sake of argument, I'll give it one last hit. Yep. 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 Good. Everything's clean on that. So I've got the carburetor hooked back up. I've got the little foot switch triggered so it'll start. I'm going to turn the choke on, got the battery in, flip this to run, pull the trigger and see if it'll start. If it starts, I'm just going to shut it right off again because I'm indoors and I don't really like to gas myself, you know? Oh. The next thing that the owner was talking about is the front brakes weren't very good. So let me show you what's going on here. So what happens is I can pull the lever in and they do grab, but when I let it go, give you a close up. So when I let it go, that cable there at the top doesn't retract, and the one at the bottom barely retracts. Like, actually, it doesn't either. There's play in there. So I suspect the cables are just corroded. I've got a little bit of time, so I'll lube the cables, but I'm also going to check the front brakes, make sure they're all right. There's original Suzuki brakes. Yeah, there's still meat on those. You know, those are all right. What's going on? Oh, shoot. Oh, brake pad's broken. That's not good. Right there. Okay. So I'm going to have to look into that. Brake pad is snapped off right there. First, I'll just take these right out. Take them over to the bench, I'll show you. You know what? My hands are all dirty with brake dust, so I might as well take this side off before I go to the bench. See what it looks like. Okay. So this side is a little bit stuck, actually. Let's see if we can. Now the lever just went down a little bit, and now it's free. So there's something going on probably. I'll check all this. I'll check it all out. So I'll just take this cable off. I've got one of those cable lubing things, and we'll give it a little hit. So what let's do is take off this adjuster on the bottom. Just undo that. Take it down. And this rubber boot. Oh my God, look at that. It's full of water. Yeah, that's not good. That's there's the problem right there. Right? It's full of water, so yeah, yeah. All right, so I'll deal with this just a bit. Let's check this. This seems a little bit stiff in here, so I'm gonna just hose this whole thing down with brake clean, get it all nice and clean, and then I'll get some proper lube in there and get this thing going nice and smooth. I'm gonna repeat this process on the other side. You don't need to see it all, but that should do it for the front brakes. You know, I did order the pads. They're going to be here early next week, so I've got a little bit of time. And in the meantime, I'll go over the whole bike, lube it up, and, you know, treat it with respect. I treat it like it was my very own bike. Doesn't matter who owns it. I don't really know this fella, but he's friends of friends. He's got kids. I don't want his kids on an unsafe machine. So that's the way I look at it. Takes very little time to go over the whole bike and just check and make sure everything is good. And that's what I'm going to do. All right, let me show you what's going on with these cables. So when I took them off, these boots were full of water, and a bunch of water came out of the tube here, and you can see it's all rusty and gross. But the cables actually move not too bad, okay? And these are the probably original cables, and they're really well made with these nice, you know, these nice curves and turns so that the actual cable on the inside doesn't get all bound up. So I'd say these are good candidates for getting rebuilt. They're just a little bit gummy and obviously a little bit wet. So I'm gonna just hang them up and maybe for a day or so, let them drip out, and then I've got one of those cable lubers, and I'll go over that. Alright, so these cables, these brake cables are pretty sticky, but I think they're salvageable. So what I've done is, a friend of mine has recommended I try one of these brake cable lubers. I have never used one in my life. I guess you just stick it on like that. Tighten it up so that it seals around it. I'm guessing here, I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this in as best I can, and then I'll hook up my nozzle and my lube to it. Ah, yeah. Then I'm going to blow a bunch of lube in until it comes out the other end, I guess. Is that how it works? Huh. Look at that. That's pretty gross. Now, this was really rusty and full of water when I took it off the machine. I don't know if you remember that. So, I guess I should have expected a bit of a mess. Yep, it's definitely loosening up. I'll just keep doing that. Oh yeah. Ha! Look at that. No kidding. All right, let's do the other one now. So this is pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy with this. What I'm doing is I'm starting out with just regular penetrating oil, just to blow it through. You know, get some good stuff through there. Give it little hits. Now I can hear it. There it comes. Cool. And I'll just blow that through. Yeah, like so. Just to get it started. I don't know if there's any sense to what I'm doing here, but it's what I'm doing. And that's that. I like to use graphite on cables, so just going to put this in. Now you got to be careful with this because it gets pretty messy pretty fast, but I'm just going to give it little pulses until it starts to come through. Believe me, graphite's, there you go, pretty obvious when it starts coming through. And then I'm just going to work this back and forth. Oh my God, it's easier already. It's like so easy. Awesome. Yeah, that's like way nicer than it was. Awesome. Let's put these brakes back in. So I cleaned these ones up, and honestly, these brakes are like brand new. So I'm going to put these back in. Unfortunately, I can't put the other side in because I think you might remember one of them was broken. I ordered new brakes. They came in, but they were the wrong size. So I have to get this bike off the lift. So I'm just going to show you this side for right now. And maybe when the other ones come in, I will put them on the bike out in my back shop or in the driveway. But that's only a matter of a couple of minutes work. So this is the little paddle. People don't normally take these all apart, but it's pretty simple, so I do. That goes in there like that. So I like to put just the smallest amount of lithium grease on these. Like, that's it. You don't need more. The last thing you need is too much grease in and around your brakes. That just makes me happy that there's something in there. It's not metal on metal. And, it'll be fine. Same thing I do on this. Just a little coat. Just so it's not bare metal on metal. Now, some people might not like this, but this small amount of grease is not really going to cause any kind of problem in there. Okay, then these simply go on like this. You pinch them kind of clam style. Put that one on like that. Okay. Line up the bottom one, and then line up the top one, and just put it on. That's all you got to do. See, so that grease in there is never going to get anywhere. That grease in there, never going to get anywhere. No worries there. Okay. Now, here's the drum. It's in great shape. There's really nothing wrong. This bike doesn't have that much time on it, I don't think. So it just slides back on like that. Bearings seem to be just fine. Okay. Goes on. And then you just tighten this on. Like so. All right, so I looked up the torque value for this online, and it's between 36 and 50 foot-pounds, so I've set it to 40. And come on, baby. There you go. 40 foot-pounds, and it lines up not bad. Let's just add 5, so 45. There you go, and then that lines up nicely. Okay, then we'll put the pin back in. I put the shorter one to the back, okay. Bring this one around front like so. Move it over, and then the bottom one, I just punch back.
Okay, got her outside, tuned the carb just a little bit. I've got to put the plastic back on. The brakes did come in, so I've got them put back on. And now it's time to give her a little test ride. It's going to be here for a few days, so I'm going to take advantage of the test rides. And everything seems to be A-okay. It starts and stops just like it's supposed to. So that's going to be it for this week. If you like these videos, I would appreciate you subscribing. And thank you very much. See you next time.